And now, from 12 Studios, this is News 12 Now.
Welcome to News 12 Now. We are so glad that you're joining us this afternoon. My name is Robin Key, and it is August 28th. Let's talk about your Texoma headlines. Now, on the crime beat, new information on a Van Alstyne bus driver involved in a crash last week. Police Chief Tim Barnes says the driver, 65-year-old Dennis Wamble, will face criminal child endangerment charges. Earlier this week, the district said the driver was fired for failing to report the incident, leaving the scene, and failing to ensure the safety of the students on the bus. And then you might have noticed an increase in the commercial motor vehicles roaming Grayson County streets. House Representative Shelley Luther announced yesterday that the Texas DPS had assigned a commercial vehicle enforcement position to Sherman. This means additional enforcement personnel from outside of Grayson County will support the county's efforts to make the roads safer by, quote, maintaining a strong and visible presence in our roads, unquote. Now we have more information about the money missing from the Honey Grove's youth sports organization last week. The issue was discovered when a board member tried to make a purchase and the organization's card declined. They looked into the bank account and to their surprise, no money was left. So the Honey Grove chief, along with the Fannin County Sheriff's Office, launched an investigation. They found over $40,000 embezzled. Chief Lee Dixon says he's disappointed that this happened, but they are working to fix it.
Everybody's going to lay eyes on statements and written reports and to verify everything.
Many community members have stepped up to help financially right this wrong in the meantime. Now, we do know a woman was arrested yesterday in connection with the case. We will keep you updated as more information is revealed. With more money issues, Oklahoma's state auditor says that the state isn't spending money like it should. Oklahoma State Inspector Cindy Byrd released an audit yesterday tracing all the money Oklahoma got and spent from the federal government during the 2023 budget year. She says more than $93 million were spent on questioned costs. That means that the money was spent the way the money was spent either doesn't comply with the law, can't be documented, or appears to be unreasonable or unethical. Byrd warns that if this kind of spending continues, taxes in Oklahoma will rise in order to pay back the misused funds. U.S. Representative George Becken is now making town hall stops across Oklahoma. Back in March, House GOP leader Mark Johnson asked his party to avoid them. During a recent meeting in Muskogee, emotions flared.
He's the chief law enforcement officer to execute.
Brecken originally came to the meeting to speak on President Trump's big, beautiful bill, but this incident came during the Q&A when somebody asked about the president's sending the National Guard to Washington, D.C. Otherwise, many at the event wanted more time to ask questions.
I didn't like that it was stretched out so long and it didn't leave very much time for questions at the end, and unfortunately we weren't able to ask our pressing questions.
It was truly answering the questions we were wanting to ask. It was kind of talking a little
Brecken
bit around
is
the
hosting several more town hall meetings. Today he'll make stops in Hugo, Atoka, and Durant. The meeting times and locations are here on your screen. So again, we have Hugo, Atoka, and Durant sort of throughout the day. Now on to business news. Ardmore's industrial sector took another big hit this week as AAF International announced their Flanders plant in Ardmore will be closing soon. This closure leaves 120 employees affected. The Ardmore Development Authority already has an economic vision plan laid out to bring new businesses in. They're also planning on helping employees by recruiting these new businesses to Ardmore and are talking to companies in the area to take laid off workers on.
There are places that we will absolutely that will be able to help take on some of these employees. But again, in the meantime, the other thing that we're doing for the long term is we are out talking to companies and looking at projects that are interested in Ardmore.
AAF International says the decision to close the plant was purely based on the large manufacturing footprint, leaving them with a lot of costly and unneeded manufacturing space. The plant will be closed by December. In Durant, just off of Main Street, there's a group of veterans making a difference. VFW Post 30916 serves veterans in Durant and Bryan County. For the first time, the team won the All-American honors for their hard work. At the national level, the VFW works with lawmakers to advocate for vets. At the local level, they volunteer in the community and help advise veterans about the benefits they've earned.
We do a lot of veterans assistance, so if a vet has any kind of needs, then they come and see us, and if we can, we help them out.
And I encourage, if you're a veteran and you've been overseas, come see us. We'd love to have you.
The Post holds an open meeting on the first Thursday every month if you're interested in joining. Now, the city of Medill is mourning the death of a longtime public servant. Police Chief Donnie Rayleigh died yesterday after a battle with cancer. He served in Texoma law enforcement for 37 years. Details about his memorial service will be made public soon. Chief Donnie Rayleigh was 60 years old. Thank you very much for your service, sir. Now, after this, we will be going over your national, regional, and international headlines. Everything you need to know will be right back here, so don't swipe away. Welcome back. We'll be starting with your regional news today. Now, new this afternoon, the Texas Senate has passed a bill to phase out the STAR test. The Texas House already approved the bill Tuesday. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says the one-size-fits-all assessment fails to actually measure a student's academic achievement. House Bill 8 would replace the STAR test with 3 smaller tests taken throughout the year. We will keep you updated on how this is going to affect your family and your student. Now, speaking of students, the city of Minneapolis is bracing against a wave of grief, shock, and frustration following the deadly rampage at a Catholic school Wednesday. 2 children were killed, 14 other children and 3 elderly parishioners were wounded. State, local, and federal authorities and elected officials are joining community members as they mourn. City leaders pledging support for the community. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry hailed the bravery of the school staff, who he said threw their bodies on top of children to protect them. While the shock, grief, and heartache were met with love and compassion, there was also anger, calling for action against gun control. Then, Texas Tech University is the latest school to fall victim to a swatting hoax. Yesterday, the school announced that a reported active shooter on campus had turned out to be a hoax. It's just one of many nationwide swatting incidents at schools recently. Schools in the area currently believe that these calls could be coming from an organized group that have called in false threats at least to over 10 universities since the start of the fall semester. The Joshua Media Ministries International Campus in Houston was raided by the FBI on Wednesday. Two leaders of the group, David Taylor and Michelle Brandon, were arrested. According to the Justice Department, the federal probe into the Kingdom of God Global Church is part of a national takedown of a forced labor operation that included money laundering. Prosecutors say Taylor and Brandon recruited people to raise funds for their ministry. The indictment says that the church took in close to $50 million in donations each year for more than a decade, and that money was spent on homes, cars, and then other luxuries. Taylor is scheduled to appear in a North Carolina court. Brandon will go before a Florida judge. If they are convicted, they could get up to 20 years behind bars. An NFL star has been suspended after a dangerous crash last year. You might know that video. It went pretty viral. I'm going to play it for you now. Yep, this is the dash cam footage that we are seeing from Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice. He was recently sentenced to 30 days in jail for a high-speed crash on Central Expressway that we just watched. Police say that he was driving more than 100 miles per hour. Yesterday, Rice, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, was suspended for the first 6 games of the season. Now, ChatGPT is adding extra safeguards for its teen users, including parental controls. Now, these are being added because the company was sued this week by the family of Adam Rain, a 16-year-old who took his own life last spring. Now, the lawsuit alleges that the chatbot engaged with the teen on suicidal methods, and it claims that the company chose not to enact safeguards despite knowing that some people can become emotionally attached to its bots. It will be very interesting to see what this lawsuit does for the future of AI. Now, the Trump administration is trying to oust the new CDC director, Susan Manarza, from her post, but she says that she's not stepping down. Her attorney accuses HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of weaponizing public health. Now, Manazera was confirmed by the U.S. Senate on July 29th and sworn in on July 31st. She was the first CDC director who required Senate confirmation and the first without a medical degree since the 1950s. Now, the Trump administration has moved to terminate her. The White House said that in a statement that she is not aligned with the president's agenda of making America healthy again. Attorneys from Manarza argue that she was targeted after she, quote, refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fire dedicated public health experts, unquote. The shakeup comes as the FDA this week moved to limit who's eligible for the COVID vaccine. And less than 3 weeks ago, a gunman targeted CDC headquarters in Atlanta. Attorneys for Manarza say that she is not resigning, and they are contesting the firing because the notification came from the White House staffer, not the president himself. At least 3 other top CDC officials publicly resigned after the announcement. House Republicans are investigating Wikipedia to look into alleged organized efforts on bias in its entries. The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee sent a letter to CEO of Wikipedia Foundation, the nonprofit organization that operates the online encyclopedia. The letter says that there are several studies and reports that highlight alleged efforts to, quote, manipulate information on Wikipedia's platform, unquote. In particular, alleged bias against Israel and Ukraine and information that was pro-Russian. The committee wants information about what Wikipedia does to, quote, identify and stop malicious conduct online that injects bias and undermines neutral viewpoints of views on its platform, unquote. The Wikipedia Foundation said it is reviewing the congressional committee request. We will keep you updated on where this goes. Now, Ukraine officials say at least 14 people have been killed in what is described as a massive attack on the capital overnight. Among the dead are 3 children. An urgent search party is underway in Kyiv for anyone who may still be trapped. President Volodymyr Zelensky says the Russian missiles and drones are a, quote, clear response to everyone in the world who has been calling for a ceasefire and real diplomacy, unquote. This is the latest attack that comes as Ukrainian delegations take part in talks on ending the war. First in Switzerland today, before traveling to New York for a meeting with U.S. officials tomorrow. Now, that was a lot of regional, national, and international news, but believe me, there is still lots more going on in Texoma. After this, we are going to be having our community corner, so do not go away. After this short break, we will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to our community corner here on News 12 Now. We are going to be going over everything that you need to know in Texoma. Now, a gym in Meade is changing lives and shaping futures for athletes across Texoma. C4 Sports Performance and Fitness is a training center founded by former Southeastern conditioning coach Sean Cooper. He has helped develop more than 200 college athletes.
We're here for the kid that's on B team that just wants to get on A team. I would say we serve them more. I want them more, or the kid that's not a starter that wants to start.
C4 Sports is located off of the Highway 70 between Durant and Meade. Check it out. For more information, you can find it on our website. Now, job seekers, a reemployment job fair is happening right now. 31 employers are there looking for workers. It's happening at the Eisenhower at the Eisenhower Business Center on South Austin Avenue in Denison. The job fair goes until 2 this afternoon, so even if you're just watching now, you still have time to make it out. Now, the boys from Oklahoma will be back.
Maybe I miss your love now.
Red Dirt Country band Cross Canada Ragweed confirms to Rolling Stone that they will continue their reunion next year. This past weekend, they performed in front of 40,000 fans in Waco and signed off saying, "See you next year." It came just months after 4 days of sold-out shows in Stillwater. The concerts ended a 15-year hiatus for the band. Ragweed and the Turnpike Troubadours say that they will return to Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater in April. Ticket pre-sales begin at noon next Friday. Now, some familiar sights will appear on the silver screen this Friday. A new movie called The Short Game, written and directed by a Sherman resident, Frank Zanza, is a tale of two brothers, a high schooler working on his golf game and his younger brother who's tagging along. Zanza says the film is set in Sherman and will play in theaters across the country, including Shrewman's Movie Grill.
In the film, like, my son is autistic, and I've used a lot of idiosyncrasies of his life, and I've put him into the film. And I was a high school golfer in my high school golf team, so I knew about that aspect. And they always say, write what you know.
You can see the film at Shulman's Movie and Grill in Sherman and then in other theaters across the nation. Now, that is it for this News 12 Now. Make sure to join us here again on Monday. Tomorrow is the kickoff of football season, so I'll be helping out with a few things behind the scenes. But do not worry, there is still lots of Channel 12 that you can watch. Well, actually, there won't be a lot of Channel 12 for much longer, but that is something you will learn more about tomorrow. But later today, tune in to Channel 12 for the 5, 6, and 10 to stay updated with everything going on. Like I said, again, tomorrow I will not be here, but you can tune in all day long, noon, 4, 5, 6, for whatever you would like. You will be kept updated with what's going on in Texoma land, don't worry. Now, did you feel like any of these stories you want to pay a bit more time to? Well, go ahead and go to our website, KXII.com, and there you will find all of the stories that we've talked about today and more. And then make sure that you're following our Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and TikTok. There you will find exclusive content, constant updates, and our past stories. Now, for the very last time, goodbye. This was News 12 now on Channel 12. We will see you tomorrow, Texoma.